Hi.
Hi.
I'm Sue. Okay, so I made this book for you. And just, you can go ahead and just leave it here. Joe has offered to make copies of anything if you want copies of your own. But this is, it's just an overview and a user's guide for all of the voices that you have available to you in the organ. And that's what I want to really talk about, because you've got hidden voices that are in this organ that you probably have never played an organ that has so many voices. All of these, each one of these words represents a rank of pipes. If this were a pipe organ, you'd have like 300 ranks of pipes, which the biggest cathedrals have that many ranks. So you have available to you all of these different ranks, and you can mix and match any of them. And I'm going to show you how to do that. The divisions are separated for you on the face of the organ. The grate, these sounds right here are played here. The swell is here, and of course the pedal is down here. There are 4 different organ types in the organ, and each of these columns represents an organ type. And what I mean by that is, if you go all over the world, each country basically has its own flavor of sound. Mm-hmm. So the Americans like a big fat sound that's bright, and French sound is light and airy, and the German is very robust. So you have 4 different organ types in this organ. The names that are engraved on the tabs are the American sounds. So your 8-foot principal. Turn it up. Very typical sound that you'd hear in a pipe organ. But if you press this, and you look at the computer screen over here, I don't know if you can all see that. I'll do it again. Press the tab, and it says VP0. VP stands for voice palette. And if you turn the right knob, it'll go to a German sound, a French sound, and then an English sound.
What was the last one?
English.
English.
So they're all different. Here's American. German, French, and English. And if you look straight across on the list, that's what you're hearing, is whatever is engraved. The principal 8, then you have the open diapason, the mantra, and the principal. So the big takeaway here is just remember, press this, turn this to get your sound, okay? One more little hint. If you press this, did you see how it flashed? Mm-hmm. That means you're not hearing what's engraved right here. And if you look over there, it'll tell you what you're hearing. So if I put it back to VP0, which it won't flash anymore, because you're actually hearing the American sound.
Okay.
Okay? And don't be afraid to mix and match types. You know, if you like the way an American 8-foot and a German 4-foot sounds together, go right ahead. Go right ahead and use it. It's just think of it as a recipe, and you're creating your recipe, and everybody's different, and everybody's meatloaf tastes different. Right? Because of your recipe, and that's what you're doing here. So have fun and go through every single sound and listen, and then try different combinations on each manual, and then blend them together. which that's what's so fun about playing the organ, is all of the different sounds and textures that you can make. So this is the grate, this is the swell, and this is the bass, the pedal. The grate manual is in general louder than the swell. So when you're layering, you might try playing a louder voice on the grate and some softer sounds on the swell. And then adding your pedal. You have all the same options in the pedal that you have in your manuals. I was going to call them hands, but manuals. You have four different sounds in each of the tabs in your pedal too.
Is
Any questions?
there a simple way, if, for instance, you wanted just the German organ for everything, how do you easily get to the whole German organ?
Very easily. Right here, there's a piston called organ type.
Okay.
Turn that on and look over at your computer screen. American, English, French, and German, right there. And if you turn and highlight, just, it's like, you know, your cursor, the old-fashioned computers. Highlight German. Now when I press this, it should flash, and it should be German.
Can you play the whole library in any of those organs? I mean, you got 4 organs here, right?
Yes. The
So
library.
if I wanted to play Antioch,
No. The way, that's all pre-recorded and preset by the organist
all right.
that
way
recorded
they did
it.
it.
Yeah.
and you're
And you
stuck.
can't change it. You can add to it, you can take it away, take away, and I'll get to that later,
Okay,
but
all right.
you can't like completely change it like that.
Okay.
He changes the registrations too much.
Darn.
Sorry. Okay. Let's go to, any questions?
What's the difference between, like, if you just press the organ type as compared to just the different sounds? Like, if you're talking about what his question was, like going to the German. So
If you
like-
just want to go straight German, you just want to be authentic, and you're going to play Bach.
Okay.
And you want to play all German sound because that's what Bach would have heard when
Right.
he played that piece. If you
Oh,
just
okay.
hit organ
Gotcha.
type, go to German,
And-
and press your tabs.
Or conversely, French or English
Yes.
or whatever. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
And when she hit the last button there on the bottom manual, that cancels everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yep, yep.
So-
yeah, I'm
if
probably
you're-
going too fast here.
You know,
That's a cancel button.
yeah.
Okay.
That's your fail-safe for getting rid of all the sound.
Okay.
Your fail-safe for, if you can't get back to your main menu here, the top right button pushes in. That is, if you completely got everything out of whack, all you have to do is press this, and it goes back to the beginning.
Okay.
If all else fails, turn it off, and then turn it back on. Yes.
Reboot.
And it will reset. It will
Okay.
reset back to original. Let's talk about registration, saving your own registrations. You have a lot of organists. So what I would recommend, this organ has 20 levels where you can save 10 registrations. So there are 200 available pistons to save your registrations. And they're in groups of 10. So when you turn the organ on, it automatically comes to memory level 1. That doesn't stand for Missouri. It's memory level 1. And if, see this M plus and M minus? That takes you up to level 20. And then I'll start over again, number 1. So then you have 1 through 5 and 6 through 10. These are general registrations. And when I say general, that means you can save everywhere. You can save to the grate, the swell, and the pedal. You can save any of your pistons. You can save your speaker parameters, whatever you want to do with your speakers. Whatever you want to save, I'm going to go to, oops. I'm going to go to 20 because there's probably nothing in 20. No, there's not. I'm just going to use memory level 20 to show you how to do this. So you've got 1 through 5, 6 through 10, general registrations. So I'm going to pick just a standard setup. Principal, 8-foot in the pedal, principal, 4-foot, 2-foot in the swell, principal, 4-foot, 2-foot in the grate. I don't play with my pedals, so I'm going to put on the bass coupler, which is right here. And what that does is it puts the pedal up into your hand. Not playing my foot. Hear the difference? So you could save that. That's the antiphonal speaker up over there. If I turn this on, it fills the whole room. You get sound from the back and the front. I want to save that too. Okay. See if there's anything else I want to put in here. I think that's good. Okay, so I'm going to press and hold set. I'm in memory level 20. That's my assigned number, we're going to say. Press and hold set. I'm going to save it to number 1. It flashed. It's saved. So what I just did here, when I come back, it's saved there. So what I would recommend is each of you pick a number, even 2 numbers, you know, in your registration menu, and that way you can play in your own registrations and you don't have to affect anybody else, and you can do whatever you want. You can borrow each other's too. I mean, I don't care. So this is called a general, dedicated to the whole organ. You also have 5, 1 through 5 here, 1 through 5 here, and 1 through 5 here. These are called divisional registrations. So I'm still in my memory level 20, piston number 1. Sometimes when I'm playing a hymn, I want to add a little bit, still using the main registration that I have, but I want to add a little bit. So let's say I'm playing along and I just come to a verse that needs a trumpet. Well, I'm going to add this trumpet-like sound, and I'm going to save it to my divisional piston here, number 1. So I'm in. So now I press that, and now I've added the trumpet to my general. So these will work. I don't really know how to say this well. These will work inside each of your general presets. So you can mix and match these 5 within each one of your 10 generals. Does that make sense?
But you have to turn it on. Can you save that? No, or you would make another general if you wanted to have the trumpet saved to your
Well,
general.
yeah, if you want it saved to the general, you can just add it and save it to your
You
general
can make it
preset.
11 or 6 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Or
So
this-
you can just add it to what is there.
So these are just there's just 5 of them, so you can have 5 that's what it's called, a good definition for it, a variation. This would be a variation on the theme of number 1.
And are those independent of that? Are there 5 total, or I wasn't too clear on?
Just the great, these 5
Yeah. I
right
mean,
here.
But it's like, out of all of us, we can only make 5, kind of, or is it
This
related
is
to level
within
still?
your,
Oh, within your
your whatever number
So
you
the-
are.
Yeah, okay.
So like then, if you went to General 2, if you had something else saved in General 2, you could save a different 5 in General
Yes.
2?
No,
Okay.
interesting, okay.
Okay.
So it's just the sky's the limit. You can do so much with this. And there's a lot of imagination that you can use with all of your playing that you didn't have the ability to do before.
No, we didn't. We only had 2 memories. That was it.
What if you're in General 1 and then your Special 1, and you switch to General 2, what happens to the other one? Is it still enabled, or?
Say that again?
You go back to both 1s, I guess, right? And then if you switch the General to 2, okay, that goes off. Okay, I see.
So now you get to,
You could turn it on again
you
to
can
that
pick
General one, yeah.
stuff for your number 2, and
I
then
think
you
that
can
makes
add
sense to turn
5
that
more
off,
to
yeah.
2.
Okay.
Okay? Clear as mud. So I guess between y'all, you need to figure out which number you want to be yours. And a lot of churches will just put a little piece of paper right here, and Diane, memory level 3, Jeff, memory level 5, or, just keep track, and then everybody knows not to mess with anybody else's memory level.
Restrictions or we'll kill you.
Right, and a lot of churches too will dedicate a memory level to guest organists. And so the guest organist will come, let's say it's number 20. Guest organists, you can go to memory level, Joe can show them how to get to 20, and then just tell your guest organist, do whatever you want, but don't go out of memory level 20, and then they can't mess up your stuff.
And I don't want to get ahead of you, but you each need a memory stick.
You can save those onto it,
Yes.
or?
You save it onto yours, you come in, and you make it your organ.
And then take it home with you. And if somebody accidentally does erase
Right.
all of your
Oh,
registrations.
it's your backup.
It's a backup.
Cool.
We're gonna make a backup for the entire organ, but this will have all the speaker, everything that we did today is gonna be saved on this, and Joe's gonna put it in a safe,
Where does it go in?
right here.
And you better not lose it,
Okay.
or erase it.
Thank you.
Does that mean there's some settings that in practice we probably wouldn't end up messing up, but that you set up today? I don't know if my
I
question
didn't
makes
set
sense,
any registrations, I just worked with the balance of the sounds, and I went through all the voices and balanced everything.
but if that's somewhere that we can't accidentally
You
mess up or
cannot get
anything,
into it.
Okay.
But if there was a power surge or something like that,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes those things can get adjusted.
Not on purpose.
Not on
but
purpose.
That right.
Right.
Okay.
So when you turn the organ on, this is what it looks like. Nothing is on except this one piston. This says grate to pedal enclosed. And what that means is, in a real pipe organ, the grate pipes are usually when you walk into a church, they're the pipes that you see. And they just kind of shoot into the room, and they're not expressive. You can't make them get loud and soft. They are what they are. But we can do whatever we want on a digital organ. So when this piston is lit, and it is defaulted to light up, it means you can express your grate. You can get loud or soft, so you can balance your grate with your swell, which I personally, I know it's probably not accurate, but I like to be able to balance my grate with my swell. So this pedal is for the grate, and if you look in the computer screen, you can see that it'll show you your level of volume, and then the next pedal is the swell, so you can see how you're balanced. And then this third pedal, this is called a crescendo pedal, and it just adds stops. There are two different schools of thought with this pedal. One of them being don't ever touch it, which I prescribe to. And the other one is use it all the time. Well, you know, I'll leave that up to you guys, what you want to do with that. But it adds stops, and you don't have control over what it's adding. And it just makes it louder and louder and louder. So that's up to you guys. The other thing, when it turns on, when the organ turns on, it only turns on the main speakers, which are up there. If you want to fill in the space, press the antiphonal on. Hear the difference? You can really feel it in the middle of the church. You can really feel it. It's awesome. So just keep that in mind. And if you turn main off, so you've got Anton, main off. So I'm gonna turn on antiphonal, but now I just want the sound coming from the back. You can press that, and now there's just sound coming from back there. Okay?
Only?
Yes.
Okay.
So what does the main alt do? What is it?
Turns
off
off
those
the
two.
mains.
These two, okay, gotcha.
There's a couple pistons here that mean nothing to you because you don't have pipes. Pipes off would be, if you had pipes, you could actually turn them off, because we can hook our organs up to pipes. And
For a lot of money.
for a lot of money. Well, if you have pipes, you have a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So pipes go out of tune, but digital organs don't, so sometimes you have to turn the pipes off. So that's what that's for. And the ancillary on is related to pipes too. Hymn player is actually just that, and in this book, you have 350 different hymns that are public domain, that are pre-recorded in the organ. So if you're all sick one day, all 12 of you, and Father says, I want to hear Amazing Grace, you go to over here, and Amazing Grace is number 213. Taking a long time. Had to pick one that starts with.
Then you have to scroll up the numbers, right? You can't dial in 318. That's my phone, I'm sorry.
Your version of Amazing Grace.
Oh wow, you really have to scroll.
Sorry, folks.
It's all right.
That's a reminder to do that every time you come into church, you know. That was a lesson.
While she's finding that, one of the things you can do with that hymn player is if you want to check out some registrations, is, you know, play a couple of those, and because it'll show you right up on there what registration it uses. It's like, oh, I like that registration.
Yeah,
You
and-
could use that registration for something else.
You could probably, you
And
could
what do
save
you-
it to your thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could steal it.
Okay.
You know,
How do you
play
play it?
something
Oh.
and walk around and say, oh, I like how that one sounds. It's like, I'm going to keep that
Okay.
one.
So here, this is just like the old-fashioned tape recorder. You've got a stop, a play, and a record. We're going to choose play because we're going to listen. So that was just the introduction. To hear the verse, you have to press each verse. Oh, it's too slow. Father wants to get out of here. You can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can turn it down, you can also change the key. Sorry.
Wow.
So for every verse, you have to hit the play button again. they're assuming that whoever is sitting here doing this function does not play the organ. And plus, we don't always sing every verse. So they don't record the song in its entirety. They just record every single hymn,
Fair.
one introduction, one verse, and then you have to sit and press play. But like Joe said, the most beautiful thing about this is, I love that registration. I'm gonna go, I probably would take a picture of it and then reset it into my memory level, whatever one I get. But one thing that you have to remember is you have to go through and make sure, that one flashed. That's not the one that's engraved. It's voice palette 1. So then,
But if you press the piston that says hymn player, that takes you out of that, does the registration stay what it was?
I don't think so. No. Let's see if there's a way to save it. Oh. That worked. Let's see.
So what did you
Now
do?
let's see if it worked. Let me see if it worked before I tell you. It worked.
Did it work?
Even
It
though she didn't
did.
show the level, she pressed the set, and it still set it in the bank too.
So whatever we were listening to, it saved. I went to my memory level 20 and I saved it to piston 2. Cool.
So
The one that was flashing over there. It still flashes. So they saved that.
I saved
Right.
it.
Okay. What I don't see on this organ, there's no numerical indication to any of those stops. This is stop 1, this is stop 2, and it goes all the way. And a lot of people, if they don't have a memory stick and they're trying to keep a book on what the registrations are, you used to just say pedal number 135 or whatever number it was.
Did the last organ have that?
It did.
Oh, it did? Oh, no.
It did. And there isn't a divisional cancel, like on the
No,
ball
there's
one.
not a
Yeah,
divisional cancel.
Not
Just
many
a
people do
general.
that.
Yeah.
But you just touched the thing and it went away.
Joe could make a strip to go across,
Or we could just put
And
them on the
number the-
tabs.
You
Yeah.
can see, yeah.
number the tabs if
We could
that's
use a
important to
Sharpie.
you. No,
We could use the label.
You could use a label maker
Yeah.
and do that.
I made you sheets in
But
here.
you still, even with that, you wouldn't know which of the 4 organs for that sound that you
No,
had.
you don't.
No,
But-
maybe that's why they didn't, it's too complicated. These are sheets for your registrations where you could go in, you can make copies of this sheet for yourself. And like, I'm number 20, okay, general 1 for me and number 20 is just a good hymn piece. So I'd put congregational singing hymn and number 1. And number 2 is great for a recessional. So I would put recessional there. And because you don't have a whole lot of room to like write down every single stop that you've chosen, but you can give yourself a memory jog of what you have in each of your registrations. So feel free to make copies of these sheets.
So in the 300 and some songs that are in there, or how many, what was the number?
350.
350, the beat or toccata isn't there. Because it wouldn't.
Well, that's not a hymn.
It's not-
It's not a hymn, and it's probably not eminent domain either.
It's probably not.
Wouldn't that be nice, though?
Let's see. This one's in here.
That's
It's not under the hymns, though. It's under something else.
what?
It's under a different part.
Which mask do we get to use this time?
I could like totally fake people out. I could come in here and be like, wow, Trent. Because I'm not.
let me show you how to find these.
my gosh.
I did not put them in this book. But they are right in not that one. You've got another probably 40 or 50 classical songs pre-recorded in this that you can also steal the registrations from. And they
How
are,
many people you think you're really playing? Better than what you can play.
yeah, nobody can see you. Okay.
You just have to pretend, you know, you gotta keep moving.
Turn the page once in a while.
Yeah, all right.
But that wedding one would be really nice if somebody needed that. You and I were doing a wedding. Shoot.
Oh, here it is.
We're like, we got that for you.
So this is the list of songs that they're called demo songs inside of this organ.
Cool.
The way you access them is the left knob over here, it turns, but it also presses. So let's say I want to go to Trumpet Voluntary by Clark.
Okay.
So I want to turn the top knob to romantic, because that's what's in the gray. And then scroll down to the songs. You guys anyone hear Trumpet Voluntary? Trumpet Voluntary.
You did a very nice wedding piece.
Oh, she's up there.
Now, can you speed that up or slow that down, like you said?
Yeah.
Right, okay, you can, all right.
I never knew I was such a good organ player, guys.
So again and again in one like that, does it stop? Like you have to keep pressing play at some points, or is that just all the way through? Like it does
It
not
will
like.
keep going.
Okay, so
I
that
just
one's
press
recorded all.
stop.
Okay.
Yes.
You have to. Okay, thank you. And so you could press stop, or you could press the reset.
I pressed pause before.
Okay,
But if you want to just,
thank you.
and so tempo, your question for tempo,
Uh huh.
it's right there. I'm so the person that played it didn't stay on track. That's with the antiphonal on. Sound great? That
Yeah.
sounds great. One more really, really important feature that this organ has that I want to make sure you know about. On top of all these other sounds, you have what are called library stops. You have another about 90 more organ sounds, ranging from 32-foot pipes to mixtures, and there's a theater organ sound in this organ, if you wanted to go crazy. And the way you access those is, see where it says library MIDI A and B? You've got three of them, two here, three sections, two here, and two here. This sheet represents all the extra sounds that are in the organ. And I'm going to show you how to get to these sounds. So let's say, I know Diane loves strings. Let me find some good string sound here. Okay, I'm going to press Library MIDI A. I'm going to go to voice number 17. And it's over here again. This is your control center. Oops. I'll go to 17. That's a little too loud. So there's a volume there. I'm going to turn it down. You can also adjust the volume with your pedals. So that's a library sound. You've got all these sounds in here.
You have a good Vox Humana.
56.
You probably shouldn't show me because I'll overplay it all the time.
There's one on 57. And then one with a tremolo. So there's 3 of them. And right underneath it is the volume. You've also got some mixtures in here that they have pre-made for you. And I like this because let's say you have your 8, 4, and 2 on. Let's say you have everything on, except that. And I still need more. It's just not enough. You can go, like, look at number 64. It's principles plus mixture, 8, 4, 2, and 1. So that's a really big sound. You've got all those stops all in one. So I can have all this on, plus I can add number 64, which just fattens it up. Bombard. And just fill up the whole space. So use these voices, and they're so simple. It's just like adding 2 more voices to your registration, but you can pick anything you want. On this organ, you also have 30 different orchestral sounds. And I want to make sure you know about these because some of them are really nice. We don't always have an oboist available for a mass. So number 223 is a gorgeous oboe. Too loud. That oboe anywhere you want. There's a really nice violin. There's some strings. All kinds of things in here.
That sounds like me.
I've got some drums. that was
Slow
strings.
strings.
There is a choir voice though. Choir ooze.
Yeah.
Choir Oz. You can change the octave. Many little people.
Yeah, you would.
Got some nice chimes in here.
Ah, there we go.
Oops. That's tubular bell tower chimes. Handbells, great handbells. Do you have a handbell choir?
No. Waiting for a donor.
And then that's got a timpani too. For you piano players, this is one of my favorite things. Harpsichords, all kinds of them. You just don't get, never have a harpsichord to play. It's also got a piano. I don't ever use it just because you don't have a pedal, but. And you have a Steinway, so you don't really need that. So go through all of these and find your favorites, and you can save these in your registrations too, just like you're saving your other stops.
When it's in hymn player, does it automatically control the volume, or do you have to control the volume?
Whatever you have, you control the volume
Okay,
by the pedals,
okay,
but there's also a controller here
right.
in one of the cursors. You have couplers on here, swell to great. So what that means is whatever you have set up here in the swell, if you turn this on, if I press swell to great, it couples to the great. Can't really hear it. Hear it all. It's there. Oh, maybe if I turn it up.
So you have to go to the screen to get that, set it up?
No, I had it turned down too low.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't coupling, I couldn't hear it. So whatever you have here, if you couple to the, press that, it comes down to here. Same with your pedal. If you want to take whatever you have in your grate and your swell and put it in your feet, you just press these. And it couples it to your feet. In the octave that it's engraved. It doesn't take it down to the 16-foot octave. Do y'all know what these numbers mean?
Is it the pipe length or something?
Yes. Yes. Like, for the 8-foot principle, when you press this key, that's the 8-foot pipe sounding of middle C. But if I press this one, it's an octave higher, and this one's 2 octaves higher. And vice versa, it's an octave lower if it says 16, or if it says 32, like is on here, it's 2 octaves lower than what you're actually pressing. Okay. Chimes, if you need chimes really fast and you don't want to have to mess with getting into here, There's chimes right here. Oops. Do you guys ever use chimes?
Very rarely.
Yeah, rare.
A lot of churches do. And here's your bass coupler again, right here. If you want to bring your pedal up into your hand. Melody coupler is the exact other side. If you make it obvious. Melody coupler brings the swell. Hear the trumpet on the top? It adds just whatever you have picked in the swell to your top note. So you can have a melody in your top finger and your pedal in your bottom finger if you want to. I don't use that very much. It's pretty tricky because you have to, if you're playing legato, it doesn't track legato very well. It only tracks, like you have to lift up and separate. And that's hard to do when you're trying to play legato. So I don't really use this very much, although in theory I like the idea.
Are you finished yet, what you were going to tell everybody? Because I have a suggestion. I think these people need to walk around the church and listen to what it sounds like. So why don't you do one of those demos you did before
Okay.
when I got here today? And I stood under the antiphonal and I felt it. And but I think if you get around, so if you get in the back and you realize how much that antiphonal does for you, for the congregation, I think it'll be nice. So if you could make some kind of.
Any questions before we leave this
Yeah,
area?
before we do that, with using the USB stick thing, how do you, where do you go to save it or to restore what you had on yours?
If you go to your quick menu, you go to USB. Maybe not.
There's not
Well,
one
it said
there.
there's not one in there, so that's why it says unavailable, probably.
Maybe. Is there another? I think it's right there. Okay. It's in a different spot. Save, load, USB. So if you want
Oh,
to
okay.
pick your registrations and you do all your saving that you want to save, then you put your USB stick in the organ, go to save load, copy memory bank. So you'd press it and it will say it's copying. And after it's finished, you just take it out and take it home.
Okay.
If something happens to your setup, it's the exact opposite. It's load voice setup. It'll ask you which which memory level you want to save it to, and then you can reload your information that's on your USB. There's a format USB. You'll have to, it's way down at the bottom of the list. So let's do that with this right now, so I can show you how it works.
And a USB will work on it.
You know, I've had trouble with some of them. You can get, if you want to be absolutely certain that you've got a good recording of your information, you can always get things from Rogers. Not all USBs work,
Okay.
and I don't know why. So it doesn't seem like.
What are you trying to do?
Open it.
The buttons on the bottom, those are the same as this here, is that correct?
Yes, 1 through 5.
Okay, what are the buttons over there?
Just pull straight out? or-
Divisional
Oh, okay,
for the
gotcha.
pedal.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha.
Just pull straight
Thank
out.
you. All right, so I'm gonna format this. It says format USB. Put it in. Oh, it's tight. What the heck? First time it's ever been used. All right. See it flashing?
Mm-hmm.
It's loading.
Okay.
So it didn't need formatted. Sometimes if you put it in, it will say, are you sure you want to format? And sometimes they come already formatted. So that one was already formatted.
On the, adding the pedal to your, you know, the coupling or whatever it is, I think in the old organ it was just the lowest note that did that. Is that how it is here, or is it every?
Whatever
It's
you're
the
playing,
percent.
the low, whatever
The
note you're
lowest note.
playing.
It's the lowest, right?
It's the
Okay.
same.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a delay with it like there was in the old one. There's, you know, somewhere around quarter to a half second delay with the old one.
And sound?
Uh-huh. Before the pedal would kick in.
Oh,
And that was with each note.
Was that always?
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, it was whenever I was trying to do anything with it, just to, because I could hear it come in after the fact.
you ready to walk around? Or do you have any more questions?
Good.
Do you have anything with that showcases a reed?
Yes, there's all, you've got reads, in all of the red tabs. French horn, and then over here. Oboe, trumpet, baryton, and then trombone, fagot, bombard, 16-foot, and another oboe. And then some 4-foot reeds in the pedal too. And then there's a nice, in the demo that we're gonna do, that you'll hear a bunch of reeds too.